It started, and Trent should be a co-host as well.
Excellent. Welcome to today's little webinar. It should be short and sharp for you. And we wanted to share everything DiviPay with you. So I'm Celeste Pearce with Business Edge Advisors, and we've got Trent McLaren on the call as well, which is awesome. Thanks for joining us, Trent.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No drama. So yeah, we've come across DiviPay ourselves and thought, oh, this might be a solution that can work for us. And then after onboarding ourselves, we've realized that this is actually a really great solution for a lot of our clients as well in that space. Did you want to add a few things about this particular stage, Trent?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to just introduce a little bit about us, I guess. So we're a Sydney-born fintech company, and we help digitize maybe the traditional corporate card and all the processes that we would normally put people through when they've got traditional card programs. So we small but growing very quick team based in Surrey Hills. And we absolutely love solving problems for people. That's why we exist, and that's how we got to where we are today. So, yeah, looking forward to diving a little bit deeper with you, and thanks for having me.
No worries at all. Thanks, Trent. So obviously, yeah, that's who we are. I should have moved on to that one before, but that's okay, isn't it? So we're just going to have a quick look today at what DiviPay is and who is it for. The expense management on steroids is how we sort of view it. Like, it's just a really great tool app to have within your organization, especially if you're got some team members that obviously need funds to spend. But that's not the only great thing about it. Saving time on that expense management as well. And it's just that it's that virtual credit card security of having it. I don't know about you, but I pretty much use my phone for everything. So I always know where it is, and just having that credit card on my phone at a drop of a hat to be able to use it for work purposes is fantastic. So many great benefits about it.
And we'll unpack a lot more in that too, because digital cards are somewhat new for some people, but the ability to quickly issue them and delete them and increase the limits, so many benefits you can't get when you're dealing with traditional bank cards, because you go through a 2 to 3 week process every time you want to make an update. So whether it's updating the name, updating the amount, issuing a new card for new people, or if you've got a team member that just up and leaves the business, trying to recover that card is difficult. So we want to put the power back in the hands of the business owner and help them take all control of, who can spend it, when, where, how, and give that visibility.
Yeah, no, and we've definitely found benefits ourselves using it, because it's always great to be able to try something ourselves so that we can actually authentically talk to our clients about it and how it's working for us. So when we say who it's for, what type of clients, it's when I think about that trend, I think about clients that have a team, an organization that maybe has volunteers, that they have to just go out and do some spending on your behalf. Maybe they're organizing events where they need to go and pick up some resources. It could be you're in a cafe and you need someone to run to the supermarket to just restock some of your consumables using. But tradies, it's a great one for tradies to be able to utilize with their team if they're running down to Bunnings to get that washer that they need for that particular job to complete it. So can you shed some more light on about who's it for?
Oh, 100%. I mean, every time someone asks, and I used to be this person, I said, can I borrow your card for a second? I need to go and buy a cup of coffee for a few clients, or I need to, again, run down to the shop. I've heard some interesting stories, and I think you mentioned tradies, where they will actually be working on 2 different jobs, and they will meet on the highway halfway between a job, share the card over. That person goes and makes a purchase. They meet back up at the end of the day on the side of the highway to give the card back and then give back the receipt as well, which is crazy when you think about the time we spend just to spend money and how full on that is. But it doesn't need to be that full on. The other one that's really interesting is any environment that has a petty cash till, or hospitality, cafes, restaurants, people that deal with cash regularly, and those businesses that have shifted to cashless now face this problem of, well, how do we actually go and help our teams go and spend that money? So we get a lot of really big take up around that. I think some of the traditional, like people that are on the road all the time, which more and more, I think we're coming back to normal environments where we are traveling on planes and hiring cars and staying at hotels and all that kind of stuff. So you get sales teams, marketing agencies, they do different campaigns for clients. So they've got different cards for Facebook advertising or Google spending or anything like that. So really, as dumb as it may sound, anyone that spends money is potentially a really good fit for DiviPay, because the way we're currently doing it is based on old school technology that's been restricted by the banks that stop us from being able to do and have that freedom and flexibility that we need.
Yeah, and which sort of leads into that expense management side of it that you're saying, different teams going on trips, sales trips, etc. So when they're doing that, they should be working to a budget, and DiviPay gives you the ability to set a budget for those particular activities or projects that they're working on. So it gives the autonomy to the person with that budget to make sure they manage it accordingly, which gives them ownership, I think, as well. So
100%. I mean, my team at the moment is in the middle of road shows that we are attending, and we obviously use DiviPay ourselves. So I give them all a budget of say $400 or $500 per week, depending on what they're traveling to. They organise their own flights. We obviously have policy on how much they should spend on flights and hotels and so forth. But it's not a good use of my time to go in and organise all their flights and hotels, when really they can do that themselves if they know where they should be at what times. They manage all their expense management. Our system does a really cool thing where it will annoy the user to upload a receipt the moment a payment has taken place. So it's not me hassling my team saying, hey, that money you spent last week, we haven't uploaded the receipt or given it to me, like, where is it? They're doing it the moment it happens because the system is kind of saying, hey, you've spent the money. Can you just give me the receipt right now? Like, that would be really good.
And if you're looking after the reconciliation for your business or for a business, it's just a time saver for you, because it's just frustrating always having to constantly ask. Whereas if you can have this tool that does it on your behalf, it's a win. So
I agree.
Sure. Did you want to give us a quick little demo there, Trent?
I'd love to. So let me, I'm going to try and share my tab.
Celeste will have to stop sharing.
Roger.
Perfect. You should all now be able to see the DiviPay website.
Yeah.
Awesome. I generally start here just to give the high level view of, what are the sort of 2 to 3 core things we solve. And then I'll actually jump in and show you inside DiviPay as well. As I mentioned, we're Sydney born. So we had 2 founders based out of our offices in Surrey Hills, but they used to work at Westpac. So they were ex-Westpac, working in building financial and banking products, and decided they wanted to go out and actually solve bigger problems for small business that they couldn't see the banks solving anytime soon. So the ultimate piece of what DiviPay gives you is a digital card that you can create or delete in seconds. So it's instantly issuing these cards to anyone in your team. And it doesn't have to be for $5,000 or $10,000. It could be for $50. I've got a coffee budget on my phone for $5 a week. So I can buy a coffee a week for $5, and that's part of our employee culture. So when we start thinking about the ability to issue cards instantly, we're not just now talking about spending money. We're looking at, well, how else can we improve the culture and quality of the way we interact with our teams? I think a lot of money spending is always associated with expenses, but I now see a lot of our users using it to give employees access to a gym membership or whatever it is in the wellness piece that they want their employees to get involved with. We see it in parties, celebrations. Whenever my team goes out to celebrate for drinks, we don't have a bar tab anymore. We just create a budget that says DiviPay celebration. There's $1,000 on it, and anyone can go to the bar and spend that money. Now, if we had to move on to another bar or whatever it may be, we're not having to close out our tab because the tab was always just on the card in the first place. So there's some really unique ways that you can use DiviPay. Obviously, normal business expenses is one, but then when you start to think about all the different ways to add value and create culture for your team, this is also another way you can do that. Now, the beauty of digital cards and the way our system works is that I can control and pre-approve all of that spending before it happens. So everyone that's on this session today could have a card with $20 each. You could all request more money that I could approve through the mobile app. And from that, you could either have more or less, and that can change instantly at any given time, which is something you can't necessarily do when you're running on bank processes or anything else. On the back of every payment that goes through, DiviPay automatically captures the merchant data, the GST, and we can help flow that information into your accounting software such as Xero. So again, you're not having to manually key that information across. The bookkeeping becomes a lot more streamlined, and all that information happens the moment the payment takes place. Now, we are a digital card product. We do not offer any physical card solutions. The main reason for that is because digital card adoption is going through the roof year on year, and it will continue. And physical cards are becoming less of a thing that we are relying on for our day-to-day use and activity. Now, you can use your digital card anywhere in the world. You can use it anywhere that a tap and pay function is available. So if you're using Apple Pay, Google Pay, if you tap and pay with your plastic, you can tap and pay with your mobile device is the easiest way to think about that. The last piece I'll just show before I actually show you DiviPay is just the financial security. I get a lot of people ask, well, Trent, how safe is this? Why is this different to a normal bank? Because there's a lot of trust there. I've been with some of those big four banks for most of my life. I trust that they're looking after my money. The good news for you and the sad news for me is that all of your money doesn't go into Trent's special holiday fund. This all goes into a DiviPay secure account set up in your name. So effectively, we give you a BSB and an account number like a normal bank would, using the same banking technology to transfer money into. So you transfer your money into the secure funds storage. All of this is held in Australia. It's fully encrypted, and we're following the same protocols that all the banks follow. So we have to play by the same rules that the banks play by. We get audited the same way. We have to have the same licensing. So effectively, we're doing everything a bank would do. So you're not losing any benefit, and we're not any more or less secure than your current banking situation and environment. So I'm not saying we've got more encryption. I'm saying we're on the exact same level playing field.
And if I can add to that, Trent, as a user perspective, when we were signing up, sometimes if you're an organization, if you're a trust or a company, you've got to take all these documents into the bank, and then you've got to go away and get something else. They want the certified true copies, etc. It was all done online through a secure portal. You could reach out and get help if needed. Maz sat there with me and went through it all. It was just so supportive, and such it just wasn't too much of an inconvenience to go ahead and do it. You do it once and it's done. So, and by providing the documents we had to provide and the security checks, you could see that you guys are following the guidelines that you have to meet standards, which is great.
Yeah, awesome. No, I love that. And I mean, like our business is built on helping people get set up and started. And this is a friction point for everyone. Anytime you go to set up a new card. So we make it our mission to try and make this as easy as possible. And we do that as much as we can with technology, but every now and then technology doesn't always work. So step in, and we're there to guide you through that process as well. So yeah, awesome. Celeste, that's amazing. I love hearing that. That's great. If I share now a new screen, so this is me in my DiviPay demo account. So there's two ways to use DiviPay. It's through the web browser, but then it's also accessing the card and mobile device through your iPhone or your Android product, which could be Samsung or Google or whichever. Now, in DiviPay, there's a few key things I'll run through briefly. So firstly, top left corner is my account balance. So you can see I've got direct access to transfer money into a BSB and account number. What I can do is set up a direct debit so that if I do start to run out of money, we automatically put money back into the balance so that your budgets here all have enough money so your team members that you've given cards to can continue to keep spending their money. Now, what you will see is obviously the budgets are split up in a pie graph or a circle graph. It's a pie graph. And as it starts to spend and deplete, you'll visually be able to see how much of that budget is left remaining. Now, these budgets are exactly that. It's a limit. Your money is not segregated into small pots. All of these budgets all draw down from the main account. So in this case, that $50,000 that's in the top left corner. If I wanted to give someone a card and figuring out how quick and easy is that to do, all I would do is click on create new budget. Let's just call this the Edge webinar budget. and I said every month I want this group to have $2,000. I can choose who in my team can access this budget with a card. I can choose 1 or 2 people if I want to approve transactions. So if they're approving a request for more money, we do bill payments as well. So if they need to approve a bill payment, they can do that here. And then they just click create. Now, the other cool thing I can do, because that's $2,000 max and anyone can spend up to $2,000, I can set individual limits. So right now they're at $500 each. But if I needed to, I could say, okay, well, you've got 1,000, you've got 250, and we can balance it out any which way we want, as long as it adds up to $2,000. Once I click create, you'll see here that these cards have now been issued to the team member. And you can tell that because the payment type where it says cards is enabled. These users would get an email that says, Trent's just added you to the Edge webinar budget. You've got up to $1,000 to spend. From that, they can download it to their phone and start tapping and paying instantly. There's no delay. And you can see that there, sorry, the last 4 digits has popped up for that card. Now, as the money starts getting spent, all of that transactional data comes into DiviPay through our transactions tab. So this acts like a bank statement. So here you've got the date, the merchant, the category that we've coded it to. So when I spend money at a cafe, it automatically goes to meals and drinks, I believe, which might flow through to your accounting software, depending on how you've done your mapping. But this is something Celeste and the team will also help you do. So you wouldn't have to worry too much on the coding front. But it is there and the system does do it automatically. Now, when the receipts get uploaded, you'll also be able to see that as well. So in this case, this is an invoice because it was a bill payment, but you'll see a copy of what's been uploaded from the mobile device, which again is helpful for you because you can see what's there. The only other thing I know business owners love being able to do is drill into, well, show me all the transactions where this person has not uploaded a tax invoice. And really quickly, it's going to show me that list, right? And from here, if I want, I can either export the CSV or I can drill in further and say, okay, show me all the ones that Kimberly has outstanding. And I can say, Kimberly, what are you doing? You owe me 3 transactions. Can you please log in, upload it to your DiviPay account, and you're off and running. If the transaction meets the criteria, it will then automatically push across into, say, Xero, your accounting software. So you're not having to code that information manually.
Yeah. I love that. You could even make a bit of a game out of it by adding a coffee budget to someone, and every week that they're fully done, give them $5 if they're the champion out of the group of teams or something, but to incentivize it, because it's a new habit that you want your team members to do. So you've also got to encourage them to do it.
100%. 100%. It is. So whilst we provide the tech and the systems and everything, a lot of it does come down to, like, what are the policies and process you want to put in place? How do you want your teams to interact with DiviPay? And again, these are things that we can all help and comment and lead on as well. So in a nutshell, that's DiviPay in terms of the web browser. I don't know that I can share it through Teams, but what I'm going to just try and do through my camera, if everyone's okay with this, is just show here what my mobile app looks like. So what you can see here, and it's a little blurry because my camera's trying to focus on different things, is my DiviPay budget. So on there, I've got my DiviPay card and it's linked on my partnerships budget. And you can see I've got $2,000 in there. Now within that, I've got 2 different options. I can either pay in store or pay online. If I click pay online, it pops up my 16-digit card, and I won't push it too close because my card number's there. And there's a CVC number on the back as well. Now, I can pick and choose different budgets. So what I've just clicked on is my partnerships budget. And within that, there's a list of all the different things that I can spend money on. So there's a celebrations budget, there's a coffee budget, there's my demo, my partnerships budget. I can pick and choose. So it doesn't mean I have 10 cards in my Apple wallet. I've just got my DiviPay card, just one card. I choose the budget in the mobile app, exactly where I want to spend my money, like which budget I'm spending money from. And then as those transactions come through, I've then got my expenses. It's telling me, hey, Trent, you owe me a transaction. Now, this is an interesting one because I was in a car park yesterday in the Sheraton on the Gold Coast, and it's come up asking me for my expense information for this. So there's a $20.30 parking ticket. I need to upload the receipt, but it's automatically picked out the GST, the category, everything that goes with it. So it's combining two things. It's both spending the money, but helping you close off the expenses to streamline your bookkeeping.
Yeah. And the thing is that, so maybe you're in an industry where the person that's doing that spend isn't really sure where it should go and, where to categorize it to, whether it's an entertainment expense or not. When it flows into programs such as Xero or QuickBooks, whoever's doing that reconciliation can double check, have a look, make sure that they've allocated it correctly. So you've still got that control and that buffer to do that. But you'll find over time that if you've mapped it properly and had that help from partners like us, that it'll just be automated for you.
100%. Other things that we can do that some people are interested in is job tracking or job costing. So if you're using tracking categories in Xero, you can apply those categories to every transaction that comes through. And the other option I mentioned before, we also do bills, and I won't go too deep onto this just in the essence of time, but if I just, for a moment, give everyone an idea of what I mean. Typically when we do bill payments in our business, it's a fairly complex process because we might use a system to process all the bills. That might go into Xero. That might then mean I need to create an ABA file, download that, upload that to the bank, and then the business owner at that point then either has to process the payment or someone else is, right? Or you might have given access to your accountant or bookkeeper to your bank account. Now, not everyone loves that situation because you've got people accessing different things. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in that. We've tried to build and solve that problem through DiviPay bills. So the idea being that I can send all my bills to DiviPay. They come in as coding required, so I will fill in the information that is missing, if any, but our system will try and pick it up where we can. Once that happens, we look at the payment details. So we're looking at the due dates, whether it's a bank transfer or you want to pay it by BPay. So we can do BPay payments now as well. BSB and account number, payment reference, you would fill all that information in. Again, you can pick when you want this bill to get paid, whether it's the due date or you want to do it somewhere in the future. This would then get sent for approval. So that could go for approval to the business owner or the finance team or whoever you want to approve these payments. That will then automatically pay the bill out of DiviPay to that supplier bank account. All of that flows through into Xero. All of it still reconciles as nicely as you like, but you've just been able to manage it in one place instead of three.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great function.
We love it. But that's DiviPay. So it's fairly easy to get started. Typically, we get questions around pricing and things like that. You can view the pricing on our website if you click the pricing tab. And it's better to obviously discuss it to understand what does that look like. And I'll just move that here now so you can see it. It depends on the number of users. It depends on the number of transactions. There's a few things I'd dive into, but it's either $6 per user per month that are spending money or $17 per user per month. And as I said, that's for both the spend management, so being able to issue cards, but also able to capture all the expense management information as well.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think yeah. Has anyone got any questions they want to put in the chat at all?
Hi, I'm back again. I think the thing I was discussing with Celeste, Trent, about the pricing as well, for me, it was about saying, well, that small cost, for, especially if it's low-level transactions for business owners, like if it's your tradie employee that does this once every now and again, what's the cost of not allowing them to just get shit done?
100%. Yeah. I used to spend, like back in the day, I used to work for another company that had a corporate card program, and I had a corporate card, and we didn't have an expense management system. So it meant that at the end of every month, I had to close out all my expenses, and I'd have my calendar up, a list of all the receipts that I'd kept in my wallet for 30 days. I probably spent 2-3 hours trying to figure it out, and it wasn't always accurate, right? I was like, oh, I think I had dinner with this person. I'm pretty sure that person was there as well. And it was a nightmare. But 3 hours versus like 3 hours a month of my time, which would have been worth more than the $17 it would cost for me to use it, No brainer, like absolutely. But I get it. Every business is different, it has different needs. And I always recommend like reviewing the scenario, but thinking about what does this unlock as opposed to how much is it going to cost me? What is it going to allow you to do that you can't currently do because you're confined by this? We've got one card that we share around, or I'm taking photos and WhatsApping the PIN code somewhere else. And yeah, there's a lot of security that goes into having this kind of platform. There's no locked in contracts, Rachel. Great question. We are month to month. Your pricing may move up and down because you've got people that use it for 1 month. You might add more, you might take more off. So it's all month to month, depending on how many active card users you have each month. So yeah, no lock-in contracts, all month to month.
Yeah, and that would work really well with trades. You know, they might have a lull over that Christmas period where they just want to downsize the amount of users, and then as the year picks up again, they might want to add them all back on again if they're traveling with work. Yeah, so no contracts is obviously very appealing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're a tech company. We subscribe to monthly subscriptions for everything as well. It's just a big part of how that works, and our customers enjoy that as well. Hey, April.
Hi, how are you, Trent? Thanks for this. I just had a quick question in regards to the bill section. I use a program at the moment called Auto Entry.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and so I just email through all my invoices that come through each month, and it pulls out all the information, then sends it through to QuickBooks for me. I noticed you've got a very similar thing. I like to pay a lump sum at the end of the month. We have about 100 invoices that come through every month.
Yep.
So we just pay like a lump sum. You said there that you allocate the banking, whether it be BPay or through the bank. Does it individually pay every single bill that comes through, or can you do it at the end of a month, do a lump sum, or like how? I'm just thinking because I would have 100 separate payments every month that would come through on my bank statement or on that transaction statement that I'd have to then reconcile.
Yeah, so there's two parts to it, I guess. So we do it individually, but the main reason for it is because through our integration into QuickBooks in this sense, we can automatically match off all of those payments against the where you're paying it out to.
Yep.
So especially through creating bank rules as well, which you can also do with QuickBooks. So it doesn't do it as a lump sum, but main reason being is that we can streamline the reconciliation because we know we represent both the payment and the bank statement, whereas most systems don't. Whereas we are both sides of your reconciliation in that sense. So it allows better integration of that information together. To help streamline it. So short answer is, yeah, we would do it as individual payments, but it shouldn't complicate your reconciliation. It should actually make it easier because everything is accounted for.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks.
Awesome. Rachel, I saw your question, which was, is there a minimum you can put in the kitty? There is not. So you could transfer $1 or $2. It's completely up to you. There's no minimum amounts that you put into your account. Obviously, you can only spend what's in the account. So it is a debit card function. It's not a credit card. You're not applying for a line of credit through us. You're purely just getting verified to transfer in your own business money. Put in as much or as little as you like.
And Trent, there's no physical credit card, is there?
There's no physical, no. It's all digital cards, which again means we can do them all instantly. Rachel, no delay. So, let me rephrase. The very first time you do a transfer, sometimes there's like an hour or two delay. Every future payment runs on the OSCO network. Therefore, they are instant transfers. So I can transfer in $100 now, and it'll be available for me to start spending and using straight away on my existing account. A new account, the first time, will take a little bit longer to establish that first connection, but every subsequent payment will go through instantly. Yeah.
And us ourselves, I know I've when we first started using it, I was like, oh, we didn't put enough in that budget. So, texting Clayton going, I've just put a request through, and he opens the request and then approves it, and then the funds are in that budget that I needed to spend on. So it's really quick and easy. But when it's in the infancy stage of your business and you're really not sure how much to allocate to people or to your team members, it's a really easy tool to up the ante, I think, in there as well. Start small.
100%. Yeah, it goes back to that point before. There's no minimums. So if you want to try everyone for $100 or $50 a week, that's fine. If you find that that's not enough and you need to increase it, well, guess what? You can do that. Like that's it's just 2 clicks of the mouse and you can control that. or you can get your team to send through requests to approve more money increases. So it's, you can also put it back on them to say, well, if you need more money, just request it. I'll review it, and if it's okay, I'll approve it, and you'll have that instantly.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Great. I suppose if there's no other questions, it's about, what next? If you're seeing this, how do I get in contact? How do I make it happen? For us at Business Edge Advisors, we would like our clients just to reach out and say they're interested, because we can assist you in that setup process, just how Maz assisted myself when I was doing it with us, so that that you're not just wearing the burden on your own, so that we can help. But you can also click on that free trial and go ahead and set up.
100%. Yeah, I definitely recommend speaking to the Edge team. You guys are DiviPay certified. You know what you're doing. But by all means, we support you as well. So it's like, if you don't have questions, well, then we're here to support you guys, and that all works. But yeah, ultimately, it's a very quick and easy system to get set up with. Typically within an hour or two, you are up, running, and spending money. That's funnily enough, the best way to learn this product is to just go and spend some money, go and buy a coffee, and just see how it all flows and works through. And that's always a good time when you're drinking coffee, I find. So yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Amazing. Well, thank you everyone for coming along. I hope this has been informative, and please, if there's anything we can do to help, please reach out anytime.
Thanks very much, Trent.
Thank you. Thanks, Trent. Thanks to everyone else.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Cheers. Have a great day. See you.